Alright, so it seems like it was a pretty eventful weekend with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 coming out on the Nintendo Switch and the big 89 Metacritic score that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has had, showing a vast improvement to the quality of the Xenoblade franchise in the mainstream or print media and also reviewers, which has conjured up quite a number of interesting takes around the internet, and we're going to discuss that and a bunch of other news with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. But before we get into anything, what's good everyone, OJ here, welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get all of my Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Nintendo Switch RPG and live streams first. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it here, talking about some weirdness that went down this weekend or the past weekend with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and probably isn't going to stop anytime soon. Maybe once some big games come out for the PlayStation and Xbox systems, but mainly just PlayStation, because it seems like there are quite a number of people that have got stuff to say when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles, which was interesting because this franchise never really got much of the mainstream or other console owners' attentions until Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and the Metascore. Now all of a sudden this is something that should be on other systems, and that PlayStation is the home of RPGs, JRPGs. Yes, a verified checkmark had something like that to say, a popular verified checkmark, be it that. But anyway, it's just this weird stuff that's happening, and the thing about it is that the Nintendo fan base cultivated Xenoblade Chronicles 3. They're the ones that made Xenoblade and Monolith Soft be what it is right now at this point. Monolith Soft had already made games on PlayStation systems before, and it did not sell and did not get the intense passion and love that we've seen for Xenoblade. And there's been exclusives, multiple different Xeno games that were on PlayStation systems. Not that those games were bad. I love Xenosaga, I love Xenogears, but I just find it interesting that now all of a sudden there needs to be something else going on with Xenoblade when it was there. It was there on the different systems and people didn't buy it and people did not talk about it as much as we're seeing when Xenoblade Chronicles first hit the Nintendo Wii back in the day. But that's beside the point. The point is that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and what they've been able to achieve and accomplish on the Nintendo Switch was built because of what Nintendo has done for it, because the fans supported the games. Therefore, there's nothing wrong with having that type of experience and being able to play that type of experience anywhere that you want on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I get some of the complaints and stuff when it comes to what it could be or the resolution or certain things like that, but to not say that they haven't put a lot of time, effort, and hard work into making it look as good and run as good as it could, considering that you can play the game anywhere, I think it's something more to be commended than anything. And for people to actually just give them their due credit and say, hey, this is a great game and it plays fantastic, especially compared to what we've gotten before from Monolith Soft with the Xenoblade franchise. So I'm happy for Monolith Soft on that. And all the weird Twitter comments and all this stuff need to just stop at this point. I think it's because some people who maybe are upset, or I'm not really sure what's going on. Maybe they're just jealous. I'm not sure, because we've seen some crazy stuff being said about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. But once again, for me, I'm just happy for the developers. I'm happy that Monolith Soft was able to make their compilation dream game of Xenoblade. It has so many elements from all the different Xenoblade games. It really is the ultimate Xeno game and probably my favorite Nintendo Switch RPG when it's all said and done. So I'm very happy for Monolith Soft on that. And weird Twitter dudes, just go play something else. Go play something, Call of Duty or whatever the case is. I'm not really sure, but just go play something else and let fans of Monolith Soft enjoy their weekend, enjoy their day, because I didn't hear this stuff back when Xenoblade 2 came out, back when Xenoblade 1 came out. I didn't really hear it as much. I'm pretty sure it was out there, but at this point, I think that Monolith Soft deserves to be praised just a bit for their work with Xenoblade, and it's a first-party game at the end of the day. I mean, that's just what it is. But anyway, let's go and get into some other news when it comes down to it. There were some reports with review bombing with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm not so sure if that's the case. Yeah, there are some people saying some things, but that's just the normal thing that people do, especially when you don't have to verify that you even have a copy of the game or even beat it or played through. But yes, the user review score on Metacritic is like a 8 point something. I guess it was a bit lower, but yeah, whatever. Not really that big of a deal. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Now, I do want to move on to some other news, which I am going to do a follow-up video on this once we get some more sales information on Thursday. But Xenoblade Chronicles 3 seems to be selling even better than expected, because we do have some reports of some different stuff here. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is #1 on the US eShop, also in Japan and certain parts of Europe. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has taken the eShop charts, and what makes this significant is that usually for the bigger games, yeah, you'll see it go up, but Xenoblade was never one of those games that really was #1 on the eShop in all regions like this, because of the file size and everything, and because the franchise isn't one of the biggest franchises out there for Nintendo. But I think that this game, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, has a massive shift in the power of Nintendo's RPG structure with games like Fire Emblem, for example. And I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 can easily, or will, hit what Fire Emblem Three Houses did back in 2019 in about 1 year's time. So from 2019 to, I think it was like June or something, right about summer of 2020, Fire Emblem did more than 3 million units. I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has a very good chance of surpassing that by a good amount, and of course having the breakthrough type of sales that we've seen for other Nintendo RPGs in the past, like Fire Emblem when it first broke through back on the Nintendo 3DS. So a vast improvement from what they've done. They've gotten better and better with each release for the most part. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did over 2 million units and counting, so I do think that this game could easily hit that a lot faster than, of course, surpass what we've seen from the sales rate of Fire Emblem Three Houses, considering what everybody is talking about and playing right now with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the Nintendo Switch. I also think that it was ingenious that they moved the release date up to July, because it really just has the whole chunk of summer by itself. If you release it in September, I think it's close enough to where there are some other games. Then of course Splatoon had probably already came out at that point, because it looks like they swapped release dates for the game. So I think that people might still be playing Splatoon, and it could maybe take away a little bit here and there. Splatoon would be a little bit older at that point, but still I think that it was much better that they got the game out and have it as a nice chunky summer release here, because there really isn't anything. The next biggest game that I can think about is like Saints Row, which is multi-platform but not on Nintendo Switch, and Soul Hacker, same thing, multi-platform, not on Nintendo Switch. So right now, like Switch owners, this is the game to pick up, that and Live Alive. So I do think that this is a very good thing, and it's going to reflect very well on Xenoblade Chronicles 3's sales. We also have #1 on Amazon Japan and in different places. Amazon, it's #1 with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is also awesome. Now the COMG charts have it at a score of 140, which could mean sales in the first 3 days in Japan when we get the Famitsu sales of 120K, not tracking the special edition or digital sales, which would be, of course, the highest for a Xenoblade game. That would beat out Xenoblade Chronicles 1, that would also beat out X, that would beat out Torna, that would beat out anything that they've had before, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I think that would be awesome if that was so. The first 3-day weekend, very good there. So worldwide sales, if it's at 120K in Japan, could easily break 1 million units when it comes to worldwide, or very close to it. So very good on that end, and once again, looks like it's off to a great start sales wise. So these are some of the things that I wanted to talk about, but I also wanted to go over just a little bit more of my own personal impressions of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. If you have not seen my video where I went over my first impressions, that was, I think, like the first few hours or so. I put a lot more time into it, and I will be giving you guys non-spoiler updates just kind of how I'm progressing through the game and things that I like. So essentially all of the new elements are kind of being layered on right now. And at this point, I mean, I've got some class switching going on. I've got some master skills going on. I've got some character switching going on, and all the new updates to the game just make this combat system the best. Easily, like the best combat system that I have ever played in a Xenoblade game, and it's getting up there when it comes to just overall combat. It feels so involved when you're doing fusion skills and when you're actually just leveling up and ranking up and switching out different things. It seems like they took a lot of great elements from different games like Bravely Default and other types of games and mixed it in with the Xeno formula, and it feels great to play. I love the class switching. I love being able to switch characters at any point. I mean, it's just a phenomenal type of experience and great game just to play, and I'm loving what they're doing with the story as well. I think that the story and the pacing in terms of how things are flowing is much better than in previous Xenoblade games, especially with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was a little bit slower to start up and kind of get through things. So I do love what they're doing with the storytelling. I love what they're doing with the combat and layering in new mechanics as you go along, and I think that that's what's making this game kind of rise above a lot of the other Xenoblade games. So I'm so happy that this game is being well received, and I'm having a ton of fun. I think I put about 20 hours into the game, which is not as much as some other people out there. I know some people have like 1,000,000 hours already, but for me, I mean, that's pretty good. I'm probably gonna sink around 300+ hours into this game if you count all of the like challenge maps and the DLC stuff that they're going to do. That's pretty much how much time I put into most Xenoblade games if you count everything, like let's say like the DLCs like Torna and all of that, or Future Connected. I'm always putting around that time, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 I might put even more than that. But I'm very happy with the game. There's not much I can say that's really wrong with it right now at this point. There's some little gripes here and there with some of the targeting stuff and all that, but I got that fixed up when I changed back to the classic mode. But yeah, I'm really loving what they're doing here, and I'm enjoying my gameplay, and I'm enjoying the game quite a lot. So we'll see what happens when I give you guys my next update, maybe when I'm like 40-50 hours in or so. But once again, no spoilers in any time that I talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the channel for the foreseeable future. So what do you guys think about Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Some of the weirdness that's been going on and everything else, let me know in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.